Hey, how's it going, guys? Chris here. Today we're going to be looking at car loans and the predatory parts of car loans and how they're taking advantage of people and, the quick ladder or the quick step ups that you'd go from, base model to top end car, and then you're paying an extra $100 a week minimum over the next 4 to 5 years, because that's a pretty average loan length now. Comment down below how much your car loan is. If you have one now, would you ever get a car loan? I know a lot of people on YouTube say, "Oh, I'd never get a car loan," and you can agree with them. Like, it's obviously not the best financial decision, but people love their cars. So comment down below. Let's get into it. Full video will be linked below also.
It's being called the biggest consumer rip-off the country's ever seen. It's gone on for more than a decade unchecked, catching out as many as 1 million Aussies. Some may have no idea they're victims. Others say this car loan scheme ruined their lives.
Most of us remember the day we bought a new car. It's exciting and it's one of the biggest financial decisions we make. But for years, there's been an arrangement quietly ripping drivers off. And lawyers say the banks have blood on their hands.
When don't the banks have blood on their hands? So the greed of banks is insane. You look at, mortgages here in Australia are insane. Like, banks are the most wealthy in Australia. Like, the most profitable banks are here in Australia because house loans are incredibly high. So for them to then also be making crap loads of money on car loans because, they're being predatory is, it's disturbing.
It was predatory, it was unethical.
That was the biggest mistake of my life, walking into that dealership.
Billy Clark wasn't even planning to buy a car when she drove past this Canberra car yard.
I just got swept away in the moment and then signed these papers, like he put it in front of me.
Next minute, she'd bought this Suzuki with a price tag of $25,990.
The hype of having a new car took over until I started making repayments and couldn't afford it.
Billy was 19 and none the wiser she was being ripped off.
Really pushy and really persuasive, and said, "I'm not letting you leave this room until you get the best tinted windows."
After slapping on a bunch of fees and different insurances, the total for her 2012 purchase was $37,807.
That's a big jump, from base model to getting all these extras. Like, recently, my partner got a new car. It's it's nice, but it's a quick leap up, right, from the base model to top of the top model. And the base models, they get you point A to point B. But then, to have the luxury, to have the nice feeling leather, to have the good seats, have the technology, like, it's a quick 10 grand added on, bam, right there. And that's for a Japanese car, so nothing crazy. Obviously Japanese cars aren't even that cheap anymore here in Australia. Your Korean cars aren't even cheap anymore. Like, Hyundai and Kia are now crazy expensive. So your only cheap cars are really your Chinese cars, and who knows how good they are, especially when you're getting an EV and whatnot, and you don't know how long that technology is going to last. But anyway, like, you get, you buy this 40 grand car. That's basically, halfway to a home loan, sort of. Well, it should be halfway to a home loan, but, in some cities it's definitely not. And yeah, you're buying this car, you're paying interest on that 37,000, and, most people don't pay it off sooner than what it is. So they're paying a crap ton of interest. It's depreciating. Like, by the time they're ready to sell that car in 5 years, the car won't even be worth 20 grand. So it's just a quick way to sink your money, and lose heaps of money for nothing, really.
My interest rate was 15.99%, and my repayments were...
Did she just say 15?
$7,807.
My interest rate was 15.99%.
Holy...
And my...
What? Comment down below how much your interest rate for a car loan is. I didn't think they went up that. That's like credit card territory. That's insane. I thought like 10% would be, pushing it. But I guess she was pretty young. Maybe not the most stable income. But yeah, that's like they're taking advantage of her so badly.
Repayments were $350 a fortnight.
The consumer is...
See, that's not $350 a fortnight. That she must have got it over like 7 years. Man, by the end of her paying that off, she's almost paid off like a home loan. I hope they get into the numbers.
Paying thousands of dollars extra on their car loan because the dealer is incentivised not to offer you a fair rate, but to offer you the highest rate they possibly can.
Morris Blackburn lawyer Andrew Watson explains how the now illegal flex commissions worked.
So the bank set a base rate, in this example, 7 to 8%. The dealer was entitled to charge whatever they liked on top of that, and the dealer got to keep most of that difference, with the bank getting to keep a small proportion.
So it's a win-win. Bank not only sells their loan, they also get a little cut of the extra interest, and dealer makes a lot more in this extra interest rate.
That's right. 1 in 20 Australians.
That's good to see that that's now illegal, but that's crazy. I guess that's why you get like a pretty good rate when you go straight through the dealer these days. Like the rate my partner got, I might be wrong, I think it was like 7%. So obviously not the greatest. It might have even been 6%. Not the most, perfect rate in the world, but with how high interest rates were back last year, or beginning of this year, it was, in perspective, it wasn't too bad. Because when you compare them online, you're looking at like 10% for, your online comparison websites.
Have been the subject of this practice. This is the largest consumer rip-off that Australia's ever seen.
The law firm has launched 3 class actions going after the banks at the helm of this scheme. Of the roughly 1 million customers embroiled in this, 400,000 of them took out loans at the hands of Westpac and its subsidiaries St George Finance and Bank of Melbourne, as did another 400,000 from ANZ through their Asanda car loans. And Macquarie Leasing is allegedly responsible for 200,000 customers' loans. The law firm alleges they preyed on younger, more vulnerable customers, less likely to question exorbitantly high rates.
And there's only one loser out of this, isn't there?
Well, the one loser is the consumer, who doesn't know this is going on and doesn't realise they've been charged all that extra.
I probably got only about three repayments in, and then I was just like, okay, this is getting on top of me. This is what I call my desperation letter that I sent to Asanda Finance, part of the ANZ group who financed my car loan.
At the time, Billy was working at a kids' play centre, earning roughly $1,100 a fortnight.
Had to say, I can't pay it. Can you try and clear this for me?
So this letter is essentially you begging?
Begging. This is my begging letter. I ended up filing for bankruptcy because
It's crazy. Imagine being like, I think she was 19 or something. It said earlier in the video, and filing for bankruptcy. That's gonna screw you. I think how long does bankruptcy stay on you? I think it affects you for 7 years. Comment down below if it affects you for longer. But she just screwed herself so hard because she just didn't understand what she's doing. And I don't know whose fault that is. Is that the school's fault? Is that her parents' fault? Is that just her fault for not understanding how shit works? How do you not know that a 16% wasn't she told what her repayments would be a fortnight before she took out the car? Was she just ignorant to not understand that, you've got a $30,000 debt, you've got to pay this off? We're going to be getting into some pretty crazy ones. They're more US based, so if you want to watch that, make sure to stick around.
Had no choice.
Billy says she endured years of shame and embarrassment before realising she wasn't alone.
that I had to drop out of university just to go back to work to afford the repayments.
James Foster bought this $24,700 Subaru in Queensland back in October 2013. Unlike Billy, he managed to hold on to the car, but only just, paying it off over 7 long years.
The interest rate was 14.97% for a total interest of $15,300.
Look at that's disgusting. 40 grand for a $24,000 car, and he paid it off over 7 years. Like, it's crazy to know that there's people out here that don't understand how this works. Like, obviously everyone's situation is a bit different, but who is taking out a loan for 15%? A $24,000 loan for 15%. That's like almost payday. Like, it's not, because payday loans are like 100% or whatever. But like, it's just ridiculous that people are taking out these loans. And for 7 years, that equates to $15,000 in interest. You could nearly buy another, you could 100% buy another car for $15,000. Crazy. And then there's also, maintenance and everything on top of that, and the car goes down in value. The car wouldn't even be worth $15,000 anymore. So yeah, like, he's in the hole big time.
Look, compensation may be nice, but that's not why I'm doing this right now. I want the banks to have accountability.
As for the banks, ANZ says it's defending the allegations. Westpac and St George are also defending the class action proceedings, and Macquarie said given it's going through the court process, it wouldn't be appropriate to comment.
It was an outrageous practice, so bad that in fact...
I think you got to blame the dealers for being that. At the end of the day, the banks were, they were benefiting from it, so obviously they were doing a bit of a dodgy there, but it's the dealerships, the car loan people, and this is what gives car sales people a bad name, right? Like, they just fucking screw you so hard.
In 2018, the Australian Securities and Investment Commission banned the practice.
Flex commissions distort pricing arrangements.
It was uncovered at the Banking, Superannuation and Financial Services Industry Royal Commission in 2018, but the damage had already been done.
Like so many of the things that emerged out of the Financial Services Royal Commission, the banks have said sorry, but they haven't paid compensation.
They never will.
So they're sorry, but not sorry. And so
they're
our action is an action.
We're going to get into this video, some good old TikTok rants.
In the midst of an...
It's
Welcome back to the Edwards Report. My name's Kaylin, and if you think that's...
I don't care, because I'm in this car.
We're in the midst of an auto crisis here in the United States, and it's flying under the radar. Let's get into it.
I don't care that I have a $700 car note. I don't care, because I'm in this car.
Comment down below. I would love to hear, mainly from Australians. That'd be what I prefer, because I'm here in Australia, I can relate to that. But $700 a month, right? That's insane. What's that? That's USD to AUD. Let's quickly do some math. That's $1,000. $1,000 divided by 4 is $250. So $250 a week. I know people with $250 a week car loan repayments. So comment down below what's the biggest you've heard of, but I think Australians are even worse at this. I think they're worse. It's crazy how much people want to pay for a car.
A lot, right? Think about it. We commute to work, to the gym, to the stores. We're in this car 1-2 hours every day. Best believe that I'm going to drive something that I like and that I'm comfortable in. And I don't care about that Apple CarPlay, whatever everybody's obsessed with. What I care about is that my windows roll up and down, that I don't have any check engine lights, and that my brakes aren't screeching. Because having an unreliable car is inconvenient. Trust me, I've had my handful of cash cars. I've been in hoopties. It was all that I could afford back then. Car troubles were the worst. So yeah, I'll pay my $700 car note. And best believe, yes, I am going to buy...
You gonna pay it while you got that job.
Yeah, I want to add to that. She says, reliable, powered window. Mate, you can buy a fucking car for $500 that has power windows. Maybe it's not reliable, but after a couple grand, you can make it reliable. when my partner went into trading her car had powered windows and everything, all the works. No, it wasn't anything special. It was an older car, but it was reliable. They offered her $500 for it. So to say that you need to get a $700 or $1,000 a month car loan repayment is insane. When you can probably spend 10 grand and get a pretty decent car. Like, obviously, yes, the used car market was pretty high during COVID. I think it's settled down a bit. You know, you can actually find some good deals now. But yeah, you don't need to buy a brand new car. There's no need for that. Just go to the mechanic, check it out. You know, go for a test drive before you buy it. If you're really scared, go to a car dealership. You'll probably get a better deal. You might not get screwed. I don't know. Comment down below if you've heard of people getting screwed at car dealerships on used cars. I have, but it was also a shitbox that he bought from a car dealership. So probably would have been just better off going on Marketplace at that point.
You gonna pay it while everything is peachy keen. But what happens if that downturn happens? What happens if we end up in a recession? What happens if you end up with some medical issues? What happens if your family needs something? What happens if you lose your job? You gonna be paying that $700? Okay, go off.
Buy the maintenance package because my car needs to be on schedule for its maintenance. And listen, the real flex is buying a nice car cash, right? But we don't all have it like that, but we can't afford a little, $700 payment. And I'm cool with that. Y'all are gonna come for me, but y'all have fun on the side of the road. No, I'm just kidding.
Got the Toyota Camry 2020 with the red interior. Miss Nay, how much did you put down?
0 down, $600 a month for 427 months. Somebody going to jail.
0 down. How much was your monthly payment? $599. For how long? 427. Take a look.
This right here is probably the worst car deal I've ever seen in my entire life.
That just made my stomach turn. They gotta be trolling.
She got a Toyota Camry with $0 down and $600 a month, 427 months. To get yourself stuck in a deal like that, your credit must be just terrible.
Abysmal. Like,
and you have to be pretty retarded, right? What's 427 months? I don't even want to look at it. 427 divided by 12, 35 years. So this has to be fake, because the car's not lasting 35 years, and that whoever makes that loan should be going to jail for even. That's so predatory, like the car will last maybe another 10 years, 20 years. I mean, it's a Toyota, so, you never know. Old Toyotas are still going these days, so, it could last over 35 years, but the amount of maintenance that you would have to put into that thing, and, $600 a month, that's a little bit more reasonable than $700. But it's still a lot of money, and that's for the rest of your life. That's a mortgage. That's longer than a mortgage. That's insane.
not even, I'm not laughing at her. If this is real, your credit is so low, it's like below Hades.
However, imagine not knowing anything about cars to thinking that this right here is a good deal. I mean, as you can see, she's all excited. $0 down, $599 a month. 427 months she's locked into paying for this Toyota Camry right here. This is how much she'd be paying if she obviously kept that car.
You might as well live in it. Because you ain't getting no house. You gonna give them $225,000 for a Camry?
That's a friggin' house, man.
Hi.
No, they're trolling.
Tahoe payment. You guys thought that was bad. Wait till you hear this one. It's my husband's truck. My husband drives a 2020 GMC AT4 Sierra 1500. We bought it in August of 2022. Financed it for $78,000. He still has a remaining balance of, I think it's $72,000 or $74,000. I haven't really checked recently. His payments are $1,600 a month. So y'all thought my $1,400 Tahoe payment was bad. His truck payment.
And the worst part about this is I hear the baby back there.
You gotta wonder what these people do for a job, right? They must be making fucking bank to think this is a good idea to go into this much debt. You know, like, but they're probably not. They've probably got credit card debt, like, lined up. Probably got 2 or 3 credit cards maxed out, 20 grand on them. It's crazy. People just don't know how to live within their means and buy something that they can actually afford. It's crazy. Like, to be spending, you know, that'd be like 2 grand a month in Australian dollars. So you're looking at $500 a week. That's how much rent is. Well, not quite, but, you know, that's getting close. And it's on a like, these people aren't going to have money to retire. Like, they're just spending it all. Like, it's a crazy, like, you hear about a cost of living crisis, right? But then you also see these people that just spend ridiculous amounts of money on stupid shit. Like, they're not even living in those cars. Like, it would be a different story if they lived in that car. Spend all the money in the world if you live there, in it, and you're going to live in it for the rest of your life. You might as well. But, yeah, these people, it's just ridiculous. The US is cooked.
And the baby got 2 irresponsible parents. That's ridiculous. $3,000 a month in cars is a mortgage, or 2 or 3. Sis, she better be trolling.
Is $1,600.
This is rage bait.
With an APR of 14%.
Nah.
You can't. What? We just watched a whole video how 14% is literally, like, predatory.
Any type of pickup truck, I'm automatically going to assume that you're overcompensating for another area. You probably own your own construction business and are definitely under 5'10". Next up, we have the Corvette Stingray. If I see you driving this, I'm going to assume you couldn't afford the Lambo, but good job living the American dream though. And if you have it in this specific color red, I'm going to assume you're over.
So this is the real rage bait right here. Okay, I thought the other one was bad. This woman is really trying to get under your skin. Let me know in the comment section if she is succeeding, okay? Is anybody's skin crawling a bit? Does she come for you?
Over 40 and going through a midlife crisis. Next up, we have the G-Wagon. If you drive a G-Wagon, I'm going to automatically assume you're very successful and you own your own business and you're using this as a tax write-off or something like that. I'm also going to assume that you're a bit of a player because of how much room it has in the himself.
Deep for.
I paid off my car last month. I haven't even gotten to the date where my next payment would have been due if I was still making payments. And just tell me why I got in my car today and it started to stutter and almost not start. So now I'm going to have.
And that's 100% the other problem. People are getting 7-year car loan repayments, right? 7 years. Like, these new cars aren't built like what they used to be. Like, after 7 years, they're probably ready to be, you know, turned in and traded in and get a new car. And it's just, that's the problem. That's the real problem here. It's just a cycle. People then get, like, accustomed to, oh, well, my old repayment was, you know, $200 a week. Why not spend $250 a week? I'm now making more money. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And, like, the other thing is they get, like, maybe 10 grand back for their trade-in. And they're like, ooh, free money. No, you've just paid that off over 7 years and that's all that's left. It's all that's left.
Be taking it in. Its possibility is a transmission issue. 62,000 miles, 2019 vehicle. Paid off, not even a month, and it's gonna break down.
That hurts my soul, y'all. And that's kind of the counter argument that I guess everybody's talking about to how people like us think. You know, we talk about driving the hoopties, we talk about buying used cars, we talk about if you bought the car new, pay it off, and then life happens. Things like this happen. So I can really understand the argument, especially if you can afford it. Like, if these numbers that we're talking about aren't a lot of money to you, I guess have the car payment. I guess. I still wouldn't want it, but that's just me. Like, I'm a pretty cheap guy. But If you can swing it and you don't got to worry about some of these issues, swing it. If you do it, if you lease, if you buy, so that you can always be in your car's warranty period. So if these things happen, you could just take it to the dealership. I get it. But we're kind of playing a little game of cat and mouse or whack-a-mole here. Like, some of us are able to drive a car till the wheels fall off, and that ends up being 25, 30 years. Some people end up with lemons. And in her case, it seems like she got played. But you should have a reasonable expectation of car maintenance. It just sucks when it's 1 month after you just paid it off.
Why? Probably one of the best financial decisions I ever made, and I thank myself for this every single day, is that I bought my car outright. You might be like, Abigail, I can't pay for my car outright. Okay, let me rephrase. I bought a used car. Did it drain my savings for a little bit for the time being? Yes. However, I don't have a car payment. And luckily, my boyfriend also drives a really, really old car that he has paid completely off. So basically, neither of us have a car payment except for our insurance. And it is so freeing. Listen, it gets me from point A to point B. Is it brand stinking new? No. Is it like the most expensive car in the world? Absolutely not. Do I have a car payment? No. Like, you do not have to buy like a brand new car just because like all your friends are buying brand new cars. My dad really taught me this, but growing up, I think I wanted like an
She has a dad. We all need one.
time and went to go buy a new phone, and I was like, I'm just gonna make monthly payments on it, whatever, I can do that. And my dad was like, you can't afford that. He was like, if you can't go buy it outright, then you can't afford that. And like, rude, but he was right. Like, the moral of the story.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to live your life. If you can't, excluding a house, obviously, because barely anyone can afford a house outright, but at the end of the day, if you can't buy a car outright and it's 50 grand, then you shouldn't be buying that car. Do I believe? Okay, yeah, it's probably not the worst decision to get a car loan. Yeah, it's not the worst decision. Just obviously put a big chunk deposit down. That's what I would say. But that's coming from some YouTuber online, so that's saying a lot, I guess. And yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why there's such this obsession with having a brand new car and having crazy repayments. It just doesn't make sense. Will it ever make sense to me? Probably not, because at the end of the day, like, older cars, technically they might not be as safe, but they're pretty safe. Like, if you get a car that's 10 years old, it's still pretty safe. Like, it's still pretty safe. It obviously doesn't have all the tech in terms of Apple CarPlay maybe, but yeah, a car is to get you point A to point B, and if you're at most spending 2 hours in the day, then it doesn't have to be the most luxurious thing. As long as it's clean and and runs, that's all you need. And at the end of the day, you can clean it and you can take it to the mechanic to get it maintained, and it will run. It's pretty simple. At the end of the day, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys think below. Full video links will be in the description below if you want to check them out. And I'll catch you in the next one. Later.